Many years ago, the New York Times published or piggybacked a story I once did for Canadian Press in one of your editions, and I found out about it, and I was pleased as pink. So it was sad to learn that one of the papers that I was so honored to be a part of has made a big decision. They're dropping their sports department. Now, as a sports editor and photographer, it didn't come as a surprise. According to an article in the New York Times covering yourself, the New York Times will disband the sports department. Coverage of games, players, and leagues will now come primarily from The Athletic, the sports website that the company bought last year. Now, according to an article from Katie Robertson and John Coblin, he said the Times said on Monday that it would disband the sports department and again rely primarily on The Athletic to cover teams and games. Now, Joel Kahn, the Times executive director, and Monica Drake, a deputy managing editor, announced a change to the newsroom as an evolution in how we cover sports. Now, according to published reports by other media, the current sports writers will be offered other jobs within the company. We plan to focus even more directly on distinctive high-impact news and enterprise journalism about how sports intersect with money, power, culture, politics, society at large. The editors wrote an email to the Times newsroom on Monday morning. At the same time, we will scale back the newsroom's coverage of games, players, teams, and leagues. Now, they saw some duplication going on. That's what they stopped. Now, the shuttering of the sports desk, which has more than 35 reporters and editors, is a major shift for the Times. The department's coverage of games, athletes, and team owners, and the sports of the Times column in particular, were once a pillar of American sports journalism. The section covered the major moments and personalities of the last century America's sports, including Muhammad Ali, the birth of free agency, George Steinbrenner, the Williams sisters, Tiger Woods, steroids in baseball, and the deadly effects of concussions in the National Football League, and of course its great coverage of all the New York and New Jersey squads. The move represents a further integration in the newsroom of The Athletic, which the New York Times bought in January 22 for $550 million, adding a publication that had some 400 journalists covering more than 200 pro sports teams. It publishes about 150 articles a day. The staff at The Athletic will now provide the bulk of the coverage of sporting events, athletes, and leagues for Times readers, and, for the first time, articles from The Athletic will appear in the Times print newspaper. Online access to The Athletic, which is operated separately from the Times newsroom, is included for those who subscribe to the Times bundle of products. Now, journalists on the sports desk again will move to other roles in the newsroom, and no layoffs were planned, Kahn and Drake said. A group on the business desk will cover money and power in sports, while new beats covering sports will be added to other sections. The moves are expected to be completed by the fall. Now, when the Times bought The Athletic, executives said the deal would help the company appeal to a broader audience. They added it to a subscription bundle that includes the main Times news site, as well as cooking, the Wirecutter product review service, and games. As a business, The Athletic has yet to turn a profit. It reported a loss of $7.8 million in the first quarter of this year, but the number of paying subscribers has grown to more than 3 million as of March of this year, from just over 1 million when it was acquired. Last November, the Times named Steven Ginsburg, a top editor at the Washington Post, the ED of The Athletic. In June, The Athletic laid off nearly 20 reporters and moved more than 20 others to new jobs. Its leader said the outlet will no longer assign at least one beat reporter to each sports team. Journalists on the site are not unionized, unlike many of those in the Times newsroom. In a statement on Monday, the union that represented the newsroom called the move an attempt at union busting. The acquisition of The Athletic has raised questions on the future of the Times sports department, which has included numerous distinguished journalists. The Sports of the Times column was started by John Kernan in 1927 and will later include a distinguished group of writers, including Robert Lipscheit, William Roden, Harvey Ireton, Selena Roberts, George Vesey, and Ira Burkow. 3 Sports of the Times columnists, Arthur Daly, Red Smith, and Dave Anderson, have won Pulitzers for the sports writing. Another sports reporter won a Pulitzer Prize in 2013 for his feature on the deadly average in Washington State, written by, of course, the great John Branch. And Josh Hayner won the Feature Photography Prize in 2014 for documenting the recovery of a survivor of the Boston Marathon bombing. Now, as it stands right now, On Sunday, a group of nearly 30 members of the Times sports desk sent a letter to Kahn and E.G. Sulzberger, the publisher of the Times, chastising the company for leaving its sports staff twisting in the wind since the purchase of the Athletic. Kahn and other members of the Times masthead met with the sports desk on Monday. The meeting was highly contentious, according to the people who were present, with sports reporters pressing Kahn on why he had not kept them more informed of the company's plans. Kahn said it were being unfair to say the masthead had waited to share the full plan and that the organization had worked hard to find jobs for everyone, the two people said. Now, in an email to the company on Monday, Sulzberger and Meredith Kopit-Levine, the Times chief executive, wrote, "Though we know this decision will be disappointing to some, we believe it is the right one for the readers." Now, Katie Robertson is a media reporter. She previously worked as an editor reporter at Bloomberg and News Corporation Australia. John Coblin covers the TV industry. He's a co-author of It's Not TV, The Spectacular Rise, Revolution, and Future of HBO. So as it stands right now, ladies and gentlemen, there's talk about a merge in Canada, the Toronto Star and the National Post Group. As it goes on, more mergers are occurring. Thank you for listening, and if you support the New York Times, let them know to not disband their sports department. Have a good one. Bye.